Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the co-owner and creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, is it common for fearful avoidants to say they just want to be friends when they actually do desire more? So I'm actually reading a question from one of our students in the members lounge who posted a question inside PDS, and I'm going to go through and take you a little bit through this question and what some reasoning is behind it. The short answer to the question is yes, absolutely. And we're going to talk about why and then what you can do as the fearful avoidant if you notice this coming up for you, or as a partner or loved one of a fearful avoidant if you notice that this is coming up in your relationship dynamic and you find yourself confused. So, first and foremost, principle number one you need to know is that fearful avoidance, just like any other avoidant attachment style, even though there's only two, they tend to they sort of operate from this like space of like their feelings minus their fears. And that's what the avoidance side is. The avoidance of any relationship is just having wounds and fears around relationships that are programmed and imprinted into the subconscious mind that cause a knee-jerk response for people. This impulsive reaction to want to pull away and protect themselves when those fears are brought up or those triggers are activated. That's what avoidance is all about. So with fearful avoidance, they tend to, and you can look, right? Like avoidance tend to have fears of what happens in relationship dynamics. Anxious, preoccupied tend to have fears of what happens if they lose a relationship dynamic, right? So fear of relationship to self more so. So that's what really splits out the reactions that you'll see, right? And determines like the different relationship, each attachment style will have two relationships in general. So fearful avoidants come from their feelings minus their fears. Now we're going to split up some major different fears here for fearful avoidance, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about like what these fears sort of manifest as. Fear number one, people can't be trusted, right? Fear number one is if a fearful avoidant grows up in a household where they see distrust and they feel like their trust is broken, because that has now become an imprint and a subconscious program, right? Anything we're exposed to repetitively that elicits an emotional response ends up programming the subconscious mind. So now we have this dynamic where it's like, okay, this is what you assume at a subconscious level. Now that fear may be dormant in different parts of your life, right? That may not be something that comes up for you until, for example, what's very typical of fearful avoidant, they crush it in the dating phase. Fearful avoidants love the dating phase of a relationship. They're themselves, they're pretty fearless. But then as soon as there's some kind of commitment, which brings you into the honeymoon phase, commitment towards exclusivity, more seriousness in the relationship, whatever it might be, well, now something can be broken because a commitment has been made and now that commitment can be broken. And usually that's a catalyst for activating those trust wounds. And you want to imagine that like if you haven't reprogrammed those trust wounds proactively, then that's going to be something you have to deal with reactively in the relationship later on. Whatever is lying dormant at the subconscious level that hasn't been given the opportunity to do the healing work, to do the reprogramming work, you're usually going to have to deal with reactively in real time, as it's going to kind of like rear its ugly head in all kinds of like difficult, challenging ways in a relationship later on. And that's why it's so important to do this reprogramming work. And if you want to do a deep dive into this stuff, by the way, the Emotional Mastery and Belief Reprogramming course, the first half of it is all about that. It's like how to go in, pick up all these different beliefs, and it literally takes you through a questionnaire of like, what are your stories, what are your experiences from the past that have imprinted you about relationships, commitment, marriage, the future, trust, and it gets you, and it goes through all the different major 7 areas of life, because we also have imprints about career, about our capability to succeed, about what we can achieve in life, about how much money we can make. Like there's so many different imprints that we have, and we either deal with imprints proactively or reactively. That's it. So we either reprogram ahead of time and save ourselves from having to learn the hard way, or these things come up and cause chaos in different places in our lives later on that we then have to go pick up the pieces from. So anyways, there's a money back guarantee for that course. We have amazing results for people just from that single course. People are becoming more secure just after doing that one course. There's a link in the description box below that I will put to that page where you can check out that course. And I will put a coupon code there as well. So with all of that being said, fear number one, as it relates to relationships, is trust will be broken. And fearful avoidants often have this belief too that like relationships can end. They will end at some point in time. They don't tend to believe that like, oh, we'll meet somebody and it'll work out forever. They think people will get bored. People will break my trust. There will be a breakdown. We will grow apart. We will lose interest. All kinds of things. And fearful avoidants also have this fear of like, oh, what if I'm the one that's too vulnerable and then I'm rejected? So they have these like all these fears piled up. And so if they have interest or romantic feelings around somebody, but they're not sure if somebody's on the same page and they think they might be rejected, they'll withhold and they won't open up. They'll say, oh, no, I would just prefer to be friends. They also, if they're feeling like, okay, I really have strong feelings, but I have these beliefs at a subconscious level that literally say, it's not going to work out long term anyways. Well, then what would anybody do, right? If we have these really strong beliefs that say, I'm going to be hurt, I'm going to be cheated on, I'm going to be lied to, trust will be broken, it doesn't matter how strong your feelings are. There's a really strong pull backwards that says, well, this is what's going to happen in the end. And anything that exists in your subconscious mind that's activated, you are emotionally buying into as if it's the absolute truth. So your conscious mind may know better, like, oh, I can't know for sure that somebody's going to cheat or that we're going to grow apart. But if those things exist at a subconscious level, you're investing in them at a subconscious level, which means that that is your emotional reality, even if a conscious part of you knows better. And remember, your subconscious mind and unconscious mind collectively make up 95 to 97% of your thoughts and feelings and emotions and behaviors, and your conscious mind 3 to 5%. So that's like the real reality that you're acting from all the time. And if you haven't cleaned up those fears, then yes, you're going to push people away and self-sabotage to a certain degree, because there's no actual such thing as self-sabotage. It's all just a subconscious strategy to get specific needs met. In this case, safety, protection from being hurt, right? Maybe avoidance of conflict or having your trust broken, staying safe, all these different things. So these are a lot of the overarching reasons that fearful avoidants will say, yeah, I just want a friendship, even though they have greater feelings at a deeper level, because they assume the worst at a subconscious level, not because they want to, not because they don't believe and want to see the best in things in so many different areas of life, but because they've been hurt before and wounded, and those imprints, as long as they are still alive and well and haven't been given that like reprogramming time, then they're going to come up and they're going to make us get cold feet and pull back and be afraid and want to push people away, again, to create safety, not necessarily from the external person or situation, but actually from our internal subconsciously programmed thoughts about the external person or situation. And that's the kicker, right? Like if we can find out what we're perceiving about our environment and learn to reprogram those things about our perception of any environment or person that is not serving us when it comes to reaching our highest potential, then we get amazing power back in our lives to have the fulfillment we want, to have the relationships we want, to learn to break through things that we couldn't break through before, because we're no longer in the prison of our mind in so many different areas. So it can be very, very powerful work, but this is the answer to your question. So fantastic question from this individual who I will call L. Thank you for asking. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.